All right, listeners, ready to get our wands in a twist? We're diving deep into Chapter 2 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Vanishing Glass.
Ooh, good one. It's more than just disappearing treats, that's for sure.
Right. We've got essays stacked higher than Hogwarts itself, and quizzes that'll make you swish and flick your brain power. All about this chapter, setting the scene, before the magic really pops off.
It's amazing how much groundwork is laid in just a few pages, right?
Yeah.
You meet the Dursleys, you get those glimpses of Harry's unusual experiences.
Yeah, those Dursleys.
Yeah.
Talk about a fun bunch. We got, multiple essays dissecting them. They're so awful, it's almost comical. But there's got to be a reason Rowling made them so extra.
Absolutely. It's not just about being mean for the sake of it. Think about it. Their obsession with normalcy, with fitting in, it's almost like they're terrified of anything different.
Right. Like anything out of the ordinary would just shatter their perfect little world. And Harry, well, he's a walking, talking reminder that magic exists.
Yeah.
Whether they like it or not.
Exactly. And those little accidental magic moments he has, they can't stand it.
Speaking of Harry, one essay points out how his clothes, those broken glasses, even being stuck in the cupboard under the stairs, it all kind of paints a picture, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like they're trying to make him invisible, squash down anything remotely interesting about him.
Except for that scar, right? That lightning bolt is like a big flashing, nope, you can't ignore the magic.
Exactly. You can't hide that. It's like a constant reminder of who Harry really is and what the Dursleys are so afraid of.
It's almost like a mark of defiance, like you can try to control me, but this magic, it's a part of who I am.
And speaking of things the Dursleys can't control, that recurring dream Harry has about the flying motorcycle. We got a ton of questions from listeners about that.
Right. What's the deal with that? Why keep dreaming about it?
Yeah, what's the significance? Is it just a cool dream, or is there something depper going on? It's definitely more than just a cool motorcycle. It represents freedom, that feeling of escaping, soaring above everything that's holding him back.
Yeah, like taking off from Privet Drive and never looking back.
Exactly. But I think it goes even deeper than that. It's about yearning for something he's never had a connection to his parents, to his own history.
Wow. I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's like, on some level, Harry knows there's more to his story. Even if he doesn't have the memories, he feels it in his gut, And that dream, it's like a little window into that longing.
That's actually kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But also kind of hopeful. Like, even though he's stuck with the Dursleys, there's a part of him that's still reaching for something more.
Exactly. And that yearning, that refusal to settle for the ordinary, that's a big part of what makes Harry such a great character, don't you think?
Totally. Okay, so we've got the Dursleys clinging to normalcy like it's a life raft. We've got Harry with these flashes of magic and that yearning for something more. And then, bam, we hit the zoo.
Ah, the zoo. A classic family outing. Or is it?
Right. The quiz questions about this part really highlight the contrast, Dudley's throwing a tantrum because he didn't get enough presents.
Spoiled rotten, that one.
Totally. And meanwhile, Harry's fascinated by a snake in a glass cage.
Which, speaking of, is where things start to get really interesting, right?
Oh, yeah. That encounter with the snake. Total game changer. It's not just about a snake escaping, is it? It was like Harry connects with it on a whole other level.
Exactly. They're both trapped, misunderstood. It's like they see a kindred spirit in each other. And the way Harry talks to that snake, parcel tongue?
Right. Like a secret language only they share. It's the first real clue that Harry's connection to magic runs deeper than anyone realizes at this point.
Absolutely. It sets him apart, marks him as different in a way that even he doesn't fully understand yet.
And then, to top it all off, the Vanishing Glass, poof, gone.
It's the first real display of magic right there in front of everyone.
But did anyone actually see it happen, though?
That's what's so clever. Nobody knows how it happened.
Yeah.
It's like Rowling wants us to savor that mystery, Like, how is that even possible?
It's like he just tapped into something without even realizing how. It kind of makes you wonder about those other weird things that happened earlier in the chapter, like Harry's hair growing back overnight or that sweater shrinking. Is that magic, too? Or is Rowling just messing with us?
Right. She's planting those seeds of doubt, making us question what's real and what's, well, magical. Speaking of questioning things, those quiz questions about the reptile house, I feel like that's symbolic, don't you?
Oh, totally. Like, it's not just a bunch of snakes and lizards, right? It's like a little preview of the wizarding world, isn't it?
Exactly. A whole world of creatures that are misunderstood, feared, just because they're different.
Just like Harry.
Exactly. And the Dursleys, with their whole normal is best act, They wouldn't last a minute in a world like that.
Oh, for sure. Remember how they reacted when the snake got out? Dudley and Piers acting like it was attacking them? Come on.
Total overreaction. It's like they couldn't handle the idea that maybe they weren't in control for once.
Right. And it's easier to blame the snake than admit they were just startled. Which, speaking of overreactions, Uncle Vernon's outbursts when Harry's magic acts up, those are comedy gold.
Seriously.
Hang
Like
on.
yelling about motorcycles not being able to fly. Give me a break.
It's like the more he tries to deny it, the more obvious it becomes that magic is real. And Harry's just stuck in the middle of it.
It's kind of sad when you think about it. The poor kid's lived with that kind of negativity for years, always being told he's nothing special, when really, he's anything but.
It's true. The quiz questions even ask about how that kind of environment would affect someone, like all that isolation and criticism stuck in that cupboard, ignored by the Dursleys. No wonder he connects with that snake. They're both kind of outcasts in their own way.
But even with all that, you still see those glimmers of who Harry really is, don't you? Like, he finds joy in the little things. Finishing Dudley's ice cream, that's our Harry.
Right. He's got this resilience, this spark that even the Dursleys can't stamp out. Speaking of sparks, those little hints about Harry's past that we get in this chapter, like whispers about a green light or the pain in his scar, those are intriguing, right?
Total cliffhangers. It's like Rowling's giving us these little breadcrumbs, leading us towards the truth about Harry's parents.
And those weird encounters with strangers who seem to recognize him. The man in the violet hat, the woman in green. It's like the magical world is already trying to reach him, even though he doesn't know it yet.
It's like those hidden Mickeys at Disney World. Once you see one, you can't unsee them. They're everywhere. But even with all that, at this point in the story, Harry's still stuck at Privet Drive. He's still got a ways to go before Hogwarts. So how does Rowling transition us from this ordinary beginning to, all the magical stuff that's coming?
It's like she leaves you hanging on the edge of your seat, right? You just have to know what happens next.
It's masterful. And by making Harry such a relatable character, someone who's just trying to figure things out, it makes you root for him even more. You want him to find out who he really is, to escape that dreary Privet Drive and find his place in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants that, don't they? To find their tribe, their people. Speaking of, any last thoughts about this chapter before we wrap things up?
Well, I think it's amazing how much Rowling packs into what seems like a simple story. You've got the humor, the mystery, those little hints of magic bubbling under the surface, and it all works together to create this sense of wonder, this feeling that anything is possible.
Absolutely. It's like, even though we know Harry's heading to Hogwarts, even though we know about the magical world, this chapter reminds us of how it feels to discover something new, something extraordinary, for the very first time.
Exactly. And I think that's something we can all connect with no matter how old we are. That sense of wonder, of possibility. It's what keeps us coming back to stories like Harry Potter again and again.
It's true. It reminds us that magic can be found in the most unexpected places. Well said. So, as we leave behind the beige walls of number 4 Privet Drive, any parting words for our listeners?
Keep your eyes peeled and your minds open. You never know what kind of magic you might find hidden in the everyday.
Words to live by. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden depths, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.